Nioh 3 is out for almost 2 weeks now, and it is absolute peak. But in true Nioh fashion, it can also feel a bit overwhelming for new players because how many mechanics this game offers and how little it does to explain all of them properly. While this game is not as hard as the first two, it can still feel too complicated when you have so many options to choose from and you don't have experience with these types of games. So in this video, I am going to explain some of the basic mechanics of the game and give you some beginner friendly options to choose from and some basic direction on how to level up your character that might help you to avoid having a rough start so you can actually enjoy the game. One of the first things that I struggled with when I first started this game is trying to approach it like any other Souls games because that's what I'm used to. But that is a very wrong way to approach it. One of the major differences that you would find is because the enemies are a lot faster, they leave very few windows open to safely attack them without getting smacked in the face. And trying to panic roll out of an attack would just cause you to lose all your ki and leaving you wide open for a crit. So the first thing you need to do is forget about all your Souls experience and expectations so you can meet this game at its own terms. Nioh 3 demands a lot of patience and control from you, but also rewards you for it. Before we start with the actual game mechanics, there are some settings that you would like to set. First of all, for controls preset, I highly recommend you use the type B controls. It is going to make your life so much easier when you try to do the martial arts skills later, as you only need to hold down your L2 or LB and press your skill button. But with the other control set, they are tied to your analog stick. So you would find it a lot harder to pull off when you are in middle of a combat and you are already using it for moving. Type E also uses the same combo, but it needs you to use both R2 plus circle for your burst attack as opposed to type B's just R2. So I think type B is just overall a better and a simpler choice. Next, you would want to turn on your style shift and burst break separation, as it would keep you in the same stance after you perform your burst attack, so you don't have to press it again to change back, opposed to when you need to hold it down when you actually want to change back. Next, turn assisted aim for range weapons on if you struggle with aiming on controller, and turn on item auto pickup. And now, let's jump into the actual game mechanics. So let's talk about the biggest change added to Nioh 3 first, the style shifts. So we have two distinct style shifts, Ninja and Samurai, and they both play very differently. And here's another thing that I struggled at first with was, since they are so different, I found it hard to adjust to one after switching from the other. I would sometimes forget that I am in Ninja mode and try to deflect or try to perfect dodge in Samurai. And if you are also facing a similar problem, here's a general tip that really works for every aspect of the game. Just because the game is offering you 10 different options doesn't mean you have to engage with all of them at once. You can just pick the ones that you are more comfortable with and try to get better at it before choosing other options. So if you are more comfortable with either Samurai or Ninja, just use that specific style. And if you turn on your style shift and burst break separation settings, you won't even change your style when you do the burst break to break their raid attacks. And if you have absolutely zero prior experience with the Nioh series, I would recommend you to try and learn Ninja style first, as you don't have to worry about stance changes, key pulses or fluxes in Ninja style at all, and learning ninjutsus are a lot simpler. Now let's talk about Samurai a little bit. Samurai is what the traditional Nioh combat is, especially with its biggest mechanic, key pulses. So after you are done attacking, if you press R1 or RB, you get a portion of your ki back. If you press it at the very end of the glowing orb phase and at the right moment, you trigger a perfect ki pulse where you get more of your ki back. And that's not all. If you change your stances during the ki pulse, you trigger a flux where you get back even more ki. Now, if you are just starting, you don't need to worry about fluxes or even perfect ki pulse. The first thing you need to do is actively press your key pulse button until it becomes a muscle memory to you. If you are using a heavier weapon like an axe and odachi, or you are in high stance, try to do it after every 2 attacks. And if you are using lighter weapons like katanas or dual blades and are in mid or low stance, try to do it after every 3 attacks. This way you would not run out of ki and you would build a habit of not spamming without doing key pulses. And over time, once you level up your ki, you can pull up longer combos easily and include key pulses in the combo with the help of fluxes. Speaking of fluxes, let's talk about stances now. At first glance, it seems pretty simple. Higher stance is more damage but slow and more key consuming. Lower stance is faster, less key consuming, and mid stance is a balance of both. But the question is why you should change stances and when you should do them. As I said already in the video, at the beginning don't worry about learning all stances and get comfortable with one first. Now which stance you should choose? Open up the skill page for the weapon you are using and see what skills each stance has for it. Now choose the stance you find has the skills that you would enjoy using more. Now I would suggest to go for either high stance or low stance first, as I think the mid stance skills are kinda mid for most weapons. No puns intended. Now you will see that some skills will be shared between stances. So if you equip them, even when you change stances, your basic attacks will change but your skills will stay the same. And this is a great way to learn fluxes, as when you switch stances, you will only need to get adjusted to the basic attacks. But before you start doing fluxes, it is important that you get more used to doing perfect key pulse. You don't have to pull it constantly, but you can get the timing somewhat right, because then you can get used to the slight delay it needs for the perfect key pulse than a regular key pulse, and use that small window to hold the R1 or RB button and press the two stances you are using. You don't need to tap them at the same time. You can just hold R1 while you cycle through the stance buttons. Now let's talk about another important features of Samurai, Deflects. And it is important that you understand that Nioh 3 is not going to reward you for perfectly deflecting 10 times in a row the same way Sekiro would or Executor from Night Rain would. As in, you don't get to break their guard by just deflecting. It is just there to mitigate any damage done to you. So why you should bother with it? Because in turn, it also has a pretty big window for you to pull it off. It is nowhere as close as Sekiro. You don't consume any ki when you deflect perfectly, and it would block any damage done to you. So you can deflect anything except grab attacks. And if you are playing as Samurai, you should not dodge at all and focus on deflecting except the grab attacks. The grab attacks are very clearly telegraphed with black smokes coming out of the enemy, indicating when you should dodge. And similar to the flux system, don't tap the deflect button, instead hold it for a few seconds. So even if you are unable to pull deflect off, you can still block any physical attack and only take cheap damage from elemental attacks. And as you progress through the game, you would find a skill that would even increase the deflect time window even more, making it extremely easy to just spam deflect. So the earlier you stop dodging and start deflecting, the better you are going to get at it. Now there is not much to say about ninja, as it is nowhere as complex as samurai. You should definitely pick up the perfect dodge as the first skill, as it is going to be massively helpful. And some other skills that you should grab later are the ones that lets you clean the yokai pool when you perform a mist, like when you do with key pulse in samurai, as otherwise it would hinder your stamina recovery because you don't have anything else to clean them as ninja. Also pick up the skill that lets you spawn a campus when you perfect dodge, and it would do damage to the enemy. Also try to use your ninjutsu, as they are not limited and will get replenished when you dodge an attack. Ninja lets you get insanely aggressive and take advantage of that. First of all, let me start by saying there is no wrong choice here. This is not Monster Hunter where you need a PhD in Charge Blade to use it properly. You can use any weapons you like from the get-go. But that being said, there are a few options that you would find a lot easier to pick up and use if you don't want to engage with all the mechanics of the game. And the first one is the axe for samurai. Axe has always been one of the best weapons in the previous games with really high DPS skill, and it is no different here. If you pick axe, you don't even need to do the stance changes or even unlock any skills, because just how powerful the basic attacks on this weapon can be, you obliterate enemies' health. This is the Angabanga weapon of Nioh. Now another great choice is the spear. It gives you more range to work with than any other weapon. You can stay in high stance and do a strong attack light attack combo and do a lot of damage. It has good skills like the spear shove. Chaining your heavy attacks when your art gauge is full would also prevent you from using any key. You can't really go wrong with this weapon. And the last weapon for the samurai I would recommend is the katana or the samurai sword. This weapon has one of the best skills in the game, the severing spin. This skill is the reverse Uno card for humans in this game. It doesn't matter if they're a regular human or a boss, it would just stun them into oblivion. Main story bosses can still hyper armor through it, but it's still a solid choice. For ninja, it is not just the weapon, you also need to focus on your ninjutsus to get the most out of this style. But there are some choices for ninja that can make you feel powerful from the get-go, like the Tonfas. Tonfas have a solid charge attack that you can just spam to deal a good amount of damage. It has some really good and flashy skills that are easy to pull and would make you feel like an anime character. Another good one is the Kusarigama. It really lets you pull out multi-hit combos without spending a lot of ki, like the dual katana for example. When it comes to armors and weights, it would be the most familiar concept to you if you are coming from Souls games. Blue is lightweight, it makes you faster, but in turn you don't have too much defense. Green is medium, you are slightly slower but your defense is high. And yellow is heavyweight, where you have really high defense but it would absolutely eat through your ki, making you vulnerable. Now ideally you would always want to be in green. Green has big range, you still have the mobility and good defense. But if you are confident enough in your dodging or deflecting ability and you want to use a specific skill that only works in lightweight, you can try blue, but it would mean you would die in one hit because you would be a glass cannon. But you would never ever want to be in yellow. This is not like Elden Ring where you can put on the heaviest armor and be a tank. It would destroy all your ki and leaving you wide open for a crit. Higher defense doesn't always mean better, and you would be absolutely fine with the defense you get from green. And as for passives, you don't need to worry about them for the majority of your first playthrough. Just see what would work for you best, whether it would be higher defense or faster key recovery or more life, and just equip what looks cool. One of the major attractions for the new series has always been about build varieties, but since there are so many options to go for, it can be a little daunting to figure out where to start from. So start by leveling up every stat up to 10 first. With these, you can use the basic buffs with soul cores by meeting the minimum requirement. Unless you are going for a magic build, you can just leave the magic and intellect stat there until you are level 80 or 90 and focus on the other stat. Now one stat you really want to prioritize is the hard stat, as it would boost your ki and ki recovery speed by a lot, and the more ki you get, the easier time you will have. Now if you are not using a weapon that primarily scales with heart, try to get it up to at least 20, and if you are using a weapon with heart as its primary, try to level it up to at least 30 first, and then get your constitution to 15, and after you have 15 constitution, also boost your stamina up to 15. After then you can focus on either strength or skill depending on the weapon you are using. Boosting skill would also boost your ninjutsu damage. So if you want to play ninja, go nuts in skill. And the biggest quality of life change in Nioh 3 is you can respec for free at any time you want and as much as you want. So feel free to experiment with the points and figure out what works for you the best. As for skill management menu at the shrine, it very much depends on what skills you find, but try to focus on the defense boosting skills at first. Then you can focus on a skill that would boost your attack, your martial arts, and your Amrita gauge charge. Then when you get more skill points to equip more skills, focus on the ones that would boost your buffs or make it last longer from your Onmyo magic. But if you are going for a magic build, you should also equip the ones that lets you cast faster. You can't really go wrong here. Onmyo magic is now based upon on your soul cores. Now if you are not really leveling up your magic and mainly focusing on your melee weapons, you are not going to do much damage with the soul cores. So in that case, equip the ones that gives you buffs in position instead. The main ones you would want to focus are, you can use it to boost your attack, or you can get a passive healing over time effect. And if you unlock more slots, you can also equip the ones that lets you put debuffs on your enemies. And if you are leveling up your magic, try to equip cores in a way that you can cover most of the elements in the game. As for Yang position, there are no way for me to show it without spoiling bosses, but at the start, try to equip the ones that would let you cast more times at the beginning of the game. The soul cores you don't need or don't like, you can perform resting rites on them and get a soul fragment to level up the ones you do like. Also, when set in Yang position, your soul cores would also give you bonus passives that you won't get when they are in Yin position. So even if you don't like a summon, if they have good bonus, it's worth equipping them. Please do not skip on exploration and just try to run towards the main story. Exploration is one of the major factors of this game. You find the skill points, the cooler skills to use, more heal by finding Kodamas, better gear by exploring, and you don't even have to worry about missing anything as the game marks everything once you raise your exploration level enough, which is very easy to do. If you are unable to reach certain areas, that just means you need a special ability to reach it that you don't just habitate. So just explore the areas you can reach, and once you are sure you got everything you need from the accessible areas, only then go for the main quest. And the areas will tell you what is the appropriate level to do them when you hover over them on the map, so you know which area you should explore first according to your level. Also, do not ignore your battle scrolls. If you are finding a particular mission harder, you can save it for later, but if you are able to do them as soon as you can, as they give you good rewards. This game has a lot to offer, but it also gives you plenty of opportunities to fix any errors you might make that in any other games you probably would have had to grind a lot to fix. This was not supposed to be a guide, but rather than help you get a smoother start on your journey by giving you some direction so you can create a playstyle that fits you. And if you did feel like this video helped you in any way, consider liking the video and subscribe to the channel. But that will be it for me today. I am Gaurav, this is the Bonfire Keeper, and I will see you next time.